Hello and welcome to That's Where Speaks. Today is Wednesday. Oops. August 10th. And this is episode 170 something. Hi, I'm your hostess, Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. I'm so hungry. It's noon. I'm starving all of a sudden. What am I gonna eat for lunch? Do you have anything exciting? Can I squirrel over there and get some? Meow. I said who I am. I said what this thing is. Okay, so this week's episode will contain administrati in the form of prizes! Oh, it's the best administrati ever! It'll contain knitting and spinning and brief shenanigans. It's so hot, right? It's really not that hot. But today it was only 76 when I walked up my kiddo down to the bus stop. But it's like 9,012% humidity. Okay, it's really not. We don't live in the jungle, but this is like as jungly as my body can handle. Like, I'm pretty sure I have sleeping sickness definitely from the heat. It's really not that bad, but I don't like it. So clearly I should not be wearing a jacket, right? However, and also we do have air conditioning in our house. Thank you, modern technology. But it's really not cold enough to be wearing a jacket, but I needed some comfort. And comfort can come in many forms, but one of those forms is to have something touching all of your skin. Do you do that? Is that a thing that you have? I'm sure it's like some sort of actual technical sciencey brain stimulus response thing. I don't know if it cuts down on the response or maybe it's like Ritalin for responses. You know what I mean? Like they give you Ritalin if you're ADHD. So maybe it's that. Like maybe it just gives you so much input that your body just whites it out and then like somehow your brain feels better about things. Is that what happens? I don't know, but I'm so hungry. So this week, did I tell it? I don't even know what I've done. I started this episode at the beginning and then I said, oh no, I should restart that because I said something really stupid. So let's see if I even remember to take that part out. I may not have because, hi. I've been feeling especially me lately too, like, but not in a pleasant way. I don't know, maybe I need some zinc or something. Maybe I need to get back on my multivitamin. I forget to take it. Then weeks and months go by, probably more likely months than weeks. And it seems like I'm getting foods, but maybe my body's weird and doesn't like to process things like it should. I mean, weird in the way that everybody is weird and that none of us are completely standardized. But like, maybe that's what it is, I don't know. But my brain has been especially just uncooperative. For like the last 2.5, 3 weeks maybe. It's been really bad this last like 4 days. My brain just wants... Do you have a dog? Maybe you don't. My dogs though, we only have a slick floor in one room of our house. The rest is carpet. Oh, don't get me started. But sometimes when the dogs have to like get a running start on the slickery floor, they forget they're on the slickery floor. And so they do that thing where they spin their tires essentially. They just like go, 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 but they're not moving. That's really how my brain's been going. It's been firing at like 98%, but with no productivity. It's been ridiculous. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's zinc. I don't know. I've not been eating anything weird. We are out of apples. Maybe that's what it is. It is time to, like, the Akanis and the early apples are totally in, but it's been just so sweaty. I just don't want to pick apples when it's 90% humidity. It's gonna taint the joyous. I'm gonna hold off until it's a joyous weather time. But anyway, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm missing apples and that's what my body is like, just being stupid. It's really not my body, but my brain. So anyway, I feel like I have been I can't, like, it just won't settle. Do you know what I mean? Like this And I know that lots and lots of you have this. Because it's like the lady ADD thing, right? That's me making things up. But I did read a book about it once. But anyway. Where there's like no compartmentalization in your brain. It's just a giant ball of like firing wire. It's been really bad lately. As you can tell, because I've talked about it for like 4 minutes and you do not need to hear it, right? You're not alone if it's happening to you too, though. I don't know what's happening. Stars, lines correctly, please, so I can think again. But anyway, shenanigans. Oh, what the heck? I don't know. Last time I was all like, maybe we'll have Blackberry stories to tell you. We have no Blackberry stories to tell you. The Blackberry picking opened up the last Wednesday of July. They were picked out by Wednesday evening. I was going to go on Thursday because the weather was going to be more cooperative. It must have been like locusts or something. Just, I don't know. If you can make any money off blackberries, that's the way to go. Or berries in general. Because then, yeah, they just go crazy. So anyway, so there's no blackberries. But as consolation prize, weirdest mom ever. Tova and me too. But Tova especially enjoys picking foods. She loves it. I totally love it too, because as the not farmer, as like the totally like this is an activity and not my job, as like, okay, there's like lots of political stuff tied around agricultural workers. I'm not going to get into that right now, but like I clearly understand that this is coming from like a serious point of privilege, that this is an option. And in fact, is the last recreational activity I had planned before she started school. Because I'm cheap also. No, I'm not. I'm just like a normal human. Anyway. So we decided that we would instead go pepper picking at our local. We were going to go green bean picking too, but they were picked out. You pick. At our local, like in the city farm, which is called Waterman's Farm. So we decided to go pepper picking, and we had loads of fun, and we may have purchased 3 gallons of peppers. It was still only like $14. No, it wasn't even that much because we got also other things. We got corn and some green beans and some pickling salt, I think. Anyway, maybe that was another day. But anyway, it was a very cheap activity and it was very enjoyable. Just took our white plastic 5-gallon bucket out to the field, and they have them arranged. I totally enjoy this. They have them arranged from like mildest to hottest, like directionally across the field. And of course the little lady who was very Indiana, who's telling us where to pick, she's like, Dad, just don't even go pick over in those last 3 rows. She's like, those are not, those are crazy. She's like, you should probably be wearing gloves if you pick those, which is totally a thing if you're going to pick a lot of them, but I thought it was very cute. Also, it would take so long to pick that, like a 5-gallon bucket of like those little Thai peppers. Can you imagine? That's like 9 gajillion peppers. But so we picked a bunch of peppers. We could not stop. It's so exciting. It's just like the apple trees when they're so full of fruit. And I would just get high. And it's just like, oh, look at all of them. We need them all. And they're fun. They're just like, there's so many different kinds. We had a grand old time picking peppers. Now, of course, I have to figure out what to do with all these peppers, but I think I've got a plan for everything. We're going to candy jalapenos, which I'm very excited about. Have you done this? You probably have. I know, you're all fancy. Essentially, that's not fancy to candy jalapenos. But I think I want to do it. I think it would be delicious on a cheese cracker in the wintertime. Spicy and sweet. Oh, I don't know. It sounds like a good thing. So we're going to candy jalapenos, and we're going to do just straight up banana peppers pickled because I enjoy those. And then, what was the other thing? Oh, we're just going to do like, we put a bunch of them in our pickles, and then I think that should mostly take care of everything. Oh, you do the candied jalapenos. Yes, that's going to take care of almost everything. There will be some still Thai peppers left because, but we'll have to go do those. It's so fun! So speaking of pickles, I'll show you my pickles. Now we did not have you pick for, I'll do an actual special pickle episode It's in the works, people. So, there will be a pickle episode hopefully coming in which I will also do the candied jalapenos. But I'll just show you briefly in shenanigans also. So we did, I'm not going to show you, I have a gallon, so 2 half-gallon mason jars, ball jars, with sour pickles that are fermenting. So they're fermenting right now. They're a 6-day pickle. Although I've got to be honest with you, I'm really nervous. I just checked on them, and some dill had like made its way to the top of the jars, and like it totally had white mold on the dill. So I'm a little nervous. Nobody in the house will eat pickles except me. And I feel very, these are like after you don't can them, so that also feels safer. Just justify my sketchy life. Whatever. So I took out the dill that had come up out of the vinegar solution, and I threw that away. And they smell gorgeous. They don't smell foul in any way. And let's face it, it's like all vinegar and salt. I don't think anything's going to live in there that will hurt me. And they're 6-day ferment, and then you put them in the refrigerator. I don't know why I think I have the footprint space for 2 half-gallon jars of sour pickles in my refrigerator, but whatever. It's for the podcast. It's an experiment and stuff. I'm so crazy. But so I don't think it'll kill me or anything, but you know, in like a few weeks, if I'm trying to figure out how you would tell if I was crazy, and it's really hard to say, isn't it? But maybe if my eyes are really dilated in the episode, I don't know. Maybe I can find like some secret hallucinogenic pinnacle. That would be exciting. And I could get rich from my hallucinogenic pickles. The life I could have. Maybe I could like solve the world's problems and like all of my synapses fire correctly. Maybe I just need those hallucinogenic pickles. FBI, if you're searching hallucinogenic words and potentially like drug dealing hatching of plans, I'm not serious. But maybe I am. Oh, I'm really want to be a person who can, want to be a person who draw things, because how awesome would the comic be of like the crazy fat lady who discovered hallucinogenic pickles, who could like alter people's mind states and make them like more peaceable and like cooperative human beings. That would be such an awesome job. I would buy that comic in a heartbeat. But TM, just in case. Anyway, so I don't have those to show you because A, the jars are really big, and also I'm doing that like, maybe I shouldn't disturb them anymore. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm the only one who eats them. They're not getting canned. They're going in the refrigerator. It's all vinegar and salt. I really feel like it's going to be fine. I feel like that was just in the headspace of the jar. Everything's fine. They smell really good. So, on a safer note, I also made, we also did spears. Oh, dill pickle spears. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you this. We bought a half bushel of pickles. So originally I just wanted 10 pounds. Oh, it's the reflection off the jar lid. I'm like, what is that light? The hallucinogenic pickles have kicked in. Is that the name of this week's episode, by the way? Hallucinogenic pickles? I think it is. I can't spell hallucinogenic in this mind state, but I'll be able to tell what that was. This is so creepy. It's the light show for the hallucinogenic pickles trip. Anywho, so I just wanted to buy 10 pounds of pickles or 10 pounds of cucumbers. By the way, if some of you don't know, some of you are like, everybody knows this, but not everybody knows this. Pickling cucumbers are much shorter than the cucumbers you typically buy at the store. Now, I noticed that lately they've been having those mini cucumbers. I guess you could pickle those. Like in like a fancy bag, although I'm sure that would be very cost prohibitive because they look expensive and fancy. And everything that's mini is. Yeah, right. So this is Mrs. Wheelbarrow's Practical Pantry. And she has a recipe in here for 7-day sweet pickles. By the way, totally check this out from your library, dudes. Even if you don't plan on pickling anything or preserving anything in any way for the rest of your life, you should just look at it. Because look at these cans of fennel orange and olive refrigerator pickles. I'm trying not to show you the words because I don't want to get in trouble. Right. This book is full of some serious eye candy. It's Gorgimosimo. And I think it's actually pretty good too. It has, there's a whole thing about like, because it has, there's a whole thing about making cheese. I want to make cheese so bad. When Joanna Spring rents out her farm, like the John C. Campbell Folk School, and like has her week-long cheese course. She's not planning on doing that, but I'm signing up, just so you know, Joanna. But anyway, so it's got lots of pickles, it's got lots of sauces. The one thing that she does that's nice that most other preserving books don't do is that she also offers recipes using the preserved. Not every preserved item has a recipe that accompanies it, but many of them do. Does that make sense? And she's got a good header in each recipe about how she would use it or what have you. See, they're called bonus recipes. Like this one's called Inside Out Samosas. But anyway, so it has lots of good stuff, and you've got interesting flavors. Like this one is chai spiced plum preserves with balsamic. I mean, I want to make everything. Why don't I live in an orchard? It's really a crime. Anyway. So this is her 7-day, is it called that? They're called 7-day sweet pickle chips. It's also online, and it's available free online, that specific recipe. So, oh, like, right, you want to make that instantly. So I only wanted 10 pounds of pickles, but my Waterman's only sold them by half bushel, and that's like 20, well, and this, of course, it's a volume, not a weight, but that's about 22 pounds. At least my half bushel was like 22 pounds or 23 pounds of pickles, of cucumbers. So we did 10 pounds of sweet pickles. I haven't washed the hard water off my can lids yet, so that's why they were kind of dim. So we did this sweet pickles. They have onion rings. They have pepper rings in them too, because I love spicy sweet pickles. They're literally, I like sweet pickles, but I love spicy sweet pickles. Okay, and you really can't find them very much. So anyway, so there's those. Speaking though of like losing my mind, the last day, 7 days, right? So like 7 days you're on these pickles. The final day, you're supposed to strain them and like reserve the liquid. I forgot completely to reserve the liquid and like threw a colander under there at the last minute and totally only got like half the amount of liquid I was supposed to get. Like, really? I've committed to these things for 7 days, and on the last day, in one action, I'm gonna totally ruin the whole process? What is wrong with me? It was okay. It worked out okay. Could have worked out a little bit better though. But it really did force me to pack my jars tight, which was good. So that made 12 pints. It actually technically made like 12 and a half pints of pickles. And then, see, I'm looking at them like, oh, is there enough fluid in there? It's fine. Chill out. Oh, and then the other dumb thing I did with my dill pickle spears, which by the way, this recipe is just from like the Ball Book of Preserving. You know, like the old school one. You know what I mean? So it's just like plain old dill pickles. But I told him about the fancy pickle crisp because, hi, crunchy pickles. These use alum, which I've never used before. That was exciting. Sorry, I'm very distracted. I'm like a cat. Or a hallucinogenic pickle later. Whatever. Same difference, basically. So I remember to do the alum. But when I was doing the pickle spears, I totally forgot. I wanted to use the fancy, somewhat chemical. Alum is like a totally, like it's an ancient chemical. It's like a mineral or something. I am so dumb. But anyway, it's classically been used in like shaving preparations. I know so has arsenic. Well, not shaving, but you know what I mean. But it's considered to be a pretty safe thing. The pickling, Ball makes a product called Pickle Crisp, which I believe is calcium chloride. Am I making that up? Because is that like some sort of poison? Anyway, it's also widely used in most commercial pickles, but it's supposed to crisp them up. So I wanted to use that and I totally forgot. I got so carried away. I just packed them all. You put them in. You put it right at the end, right before you put the lids on. And I totally packed all my pickles and had them in the canner and realized as soon as they were in the hot water bath that I totally forgot to put the pickle crisp in. By the way, all pickles are just hot water bath. You don't have to have a pressure cooker. But anyway, really? So that's been all the pickling. And again, now I'm going to do a pickle episode and you'll be like, we already heard it. I know, I'm sorry, but I was going to start talking. I can't stop. Let's see. Peppers. We did that. I did that. And then, okay. I talked about being extra scattered. I wrote that on my list of things to talk about. Oh, also we had Gen Con in the house. We had Gen Con in the city last weekend, so that's super fun. I did not actually attend Gen Con for a couple of reasons. Mostly because I was afraid. Again, with the scattered mind, I sometimes have a lot of trouble not being completely impulse driven. Like at Rhinebeck, Malia was with me. If she had not been with me, I would have bought like 7 fleeces. Have I processed the 1 fleece I bought yet? No, I haven't. Honesty time. But if she had not been there to be like, okay, but which of these 2 do you think would be better? I probably would have been like, oh, our whole van is full of fleeces now. So I kind of need a steady buddy. Like I need like the buddy who is centered to go to those things with. Because otherwise it's just, I would have no dollars. That's really the primary reason. But the great thing is it brings a bunch of knitters into the town amongst the gamers. This is, by the way, this is a tabletop convention. This is not like a video game convention. This is like tabletop board games, living card collectible card games like Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons-y kind of stuff. So it's basically your Uber nerds. Yay, Uber nerds! But so also I brought some knitters in, so we had to have dinner, and I had the best pizza I've had in a very long time. It was delicioso. So it was so fun to visit with people and humans, and that was so, it's actually totally like having the, before we went, do you have that when you're like having like a social function with everybody being way cooler than you? So I totally had the, but I'm glad I didn't let that take hold of me. It worked out. So that was super fun. Oh, then my best friend came, like my best friend that I met in my freshman year of high school in CP biology. We've known each other longer than we haven't. We actually are in our like silver anniversary of friendship, or maybe next year, but close enough. We never get to see each other because she has 3 kids, and they've ranged in age from, I'm trying to do math, 13 to 3. So her life, and she's also like a professional. She's a fancy librarian at a university and stuff. So like it's really hard. Neither of our cars have air conditioning. So it's really, so we can only meet in the summer, and then like there's basically like 3 days every summer that we can somehow meet. And so it doesn't often work out. But she came to visit. It was so nice. But partly because of that, and then also partly because my brain is having some malfunctioning issues right now, I had got no knitting done. 2 weeks. Okay, that's not completely true. I got some knitting done. But, okay, I'm trying to think of what I should do. I'll do prizes at the end. Don't let me forget. It's going to be really fast this time. I did it ahead of time. Because quite frankly, you're just going to have to trust me. And there's prizes for donations. Thank you. This podcast is made possible by viewers like you. So I got 0 knitting done. And that's not completely true because I got some knitting done, as I was about to start saying. And I had a win knitting attacks. I'm purloining from the Knit Girls. I'm purloining their purloin to purloin their win knitting attacks. It's basically like a quadratic formula happening. I don't know if you're ready for it. Factor that and stuff. But anyway, The only thing I've worked on in 2 weeks, I mean literally, is my Excuse Me poncho. And that is Excuse Me poncho by Mr. Stephen West. I've not been knitting very much. I can't focus on anything. But I did get a good amount done. I mean, decent. Not good, decent. I got an acceptable, okay, slightly less than acceptable amount done. And then I realized that I have been doing it wrong. I had to rip out 10 inches of my poncho. 10 inches. Now, let me be very clear. This is not Mr. Stephen West's fault. His directions are clearly written. I made all those Excuse Me hats, and so when I thought that there were just 2 columns of increases, I just went with it. There are 3 columns of increases. So it's not like it was like somebody was like, well, can't you just, go back maybe and add that stuff? No, because it's a whole column of every other row increasing 2 stitches. So it's like 40 to 80 stitches something. I didn't actually look because I don't want to cry. Don't. However, I did try it on. It looked kind of cool. It was definitely snugger than it was in the pictures, but it could have almost been a sweater. And I did have that moment of being like, maybe this is just now the yoke of my sweater. But the back, it wouldn't have completely worked out. And so I ripped back. I never rip back knitting. Like, it's very rare. Oh, also in that time, I also ripped back like 2 inches because I tried the Sockmatician. I tried his single pass 2-color brioche technique. You can find it on YouTube. And there's actually 2 videos. One of them is like the first one he did, and then there's another one that's much clearer because he's using a thicker yarn. So if you are at all comfortable with knitting with both your hands, like doing stranded knitting, definitely, or I think he does a lot of double knitting, definitely look into it because I did it for about 2 inches and I had to rip it back because my gauge changed significantly, but it was really fun to do. I kind of dug it. It was different because, again, it changes the rhythm, and part of the thing I like about brioche so much, should I show you this while I'm talking about nothing? Part of the reason I like brioche so much is I really enjoy just the rhythmic nature of it. So it does change that rhythm, but it's still a pleasant rhythm. It's just different. So I think I would definitely use that technique again, but I would start it from the beginning of the project because not only did it change the gauge, but I also had like a fudge it row where I had to kind of like just make it work. So anyway, but here it is, and it's less than 10 inches less than it was. But now it will be more loosey-goosey like the ones in the picture, which I do like because I had that moment of like, how am I gonna wear this thing like carry or like a handbag? Like how is it's not gonna go over it, but since it's loosier goosier, it can go under it, and it makes more sense to me now. But so here it is. It's actually probably barely any longer technically than it was last week, but it's a lot longer on experience. I've never done anything like, well, I mean, I've done equally stupid things, but I've never quite done that. But anyway, I am really enjoying this. This hand spun is a one-time color from Hello Yarn. And the contrasting is Rowan Pure Wool Worsted, which is a superwash bonus. And this is color number 106, which I believe is Rust, if I'm not mistaken. If you are looking for what I would call, I mean, sometimes I don't want to call things workhorse yarn because people are going to imagine that it's like scroochy but this is a nice yarn. It has a nice amount of twist in the ply, but it doesn't feel ropey. It's not merino, but it's not, I mean, it's definitely next to skin. I would have no trouble with it, even in a hat, which is one of my most sensitive, is that forehead thing. But Webs, which is yarn.com, who does not sponsor the show, is having their discontinued colors of the Rowan Pure Wool Worsted. I think they call it Pure Wool Superwash, and that's the right thing. They're having it on like a clearance for $6.29 a ball, and it's 100 grams, which is 219 yards. And they had several good colors. They have like a nice oatmeal that's heathered. I usually won't make a solid. I like at least a heather in my, if I'm going to do a whole project. I don't know why. But anyway, it's very functional. I mean, that's a great price. Anyway, FYI, that you don't get a discount off that because it's discontinued, so it's already discounted. But it's a nice thing. Okay, got some holiday knitting coming up. So there's that. I have one other thing to show you. I was talked about this. I didn't actually knit on this, but since I didn't show you last week, I can show you this week. Okay. Gail's Art, who does lovely sock blanks and does lovely personhood because she's awesome. Gail's Art does sock blanks. This one is called Special Secret Sock Blank. It's the colorway New Leaf. And it looks like that. And I have a layout. So there's a row in there for my heel. But so yay! I'll just do an afterthought heel on these just because I like the way they fit, and it's fun to do that when you have color sequencing happening. Anyway, so these, I originally was not supermly, was not, I was going to say supremely, which doesn't even make sense, but at least it's a word. I was not supremely attracted to this sock blank. But Malia, who's rhymes with Maria, last year, Rhinebeck was knitting on a pair of socks, and I was like, what is that? I must have it. So I bought this last year at Rhinebeck. Oh, maybe I'll have another Rhinebeck this year. Are you going? Anyway, so there's that. And if you, have you ever knit with sock blank before? You've heard other people talk about it. It does totally mine the way I tension my yarn. It makes my sock a little warbly, but I kind of dig that. And it adds extra elasticity in my mind because it's almost like getting pearls in there, because the pearl has a little bit extra length on the stitch because you have to wrap the yarn further around. So to me, it almost makes it a little bit more elastic, but I don't know. I may be just making that up. Which is what this whole podcast is about. Oh my gosh, I'm still so hungry. Anyway. Oh, I did it out of order. There's also spinning this week. I mean, not really. It's not finished, but I can at least show you a bobbin. I got my first 10 ounces of This Is Hello yarn in the Bedtime Stories colorway. This is organic Pullworth. I finished my first 10 ounces. Yay! And so I've got 10 more to go. Hopefully it doesn't take me... Oh, gotta get my mind focused better so I can concentrate on things and make some progress, because there's just so much gorgeous stuff I want to do and make and stuff. And I feel better. So there's that. It's very enjoyable, of course, like you need me to tell you. It's awful. You should never buy your fiber. That I only say that because everybody buys it so fast I can't buy it. It's awesome though. Anywho. So there's that, and that. Okay, let me make sure I did knitting attacks. Ta-da! Thanks, Nemo Girls. Okay, so the rest is going to be prizes, but it'll only take a minute because I already did it ahead of time. The first prize. So I did random number generator, and I just did it in order. I organized everybody's donations. Thank you. Really. Thank you. I organized everybody's donations in reverse alphabetical order by the first name. And the first number that was generated was Judith G. Now you're like, what? Are you in British Columbia, Judith G? Is your email address end in ExploreNet? That's you then. So you win. Well, you win your choice. Let's say that because you were first. But your options are that you can win either my Saman shawl made with Knit Picks alpaca clouds. It does have alpaca in it. This is by Mr. Stephen West. Or, which is super, by the way, I don't think I'm giving this away because I don't like it. I just may have enough shovels in my life. Right. Gorgeous. And then the second prize will go to Lorna C., also of Canada. She's in Ontario. Are you Lorna C. in Ontario? Does your email address end with Vianet? Maybe it does. That's you. That's you. You won. So Judith, and Lorna, if you could just either PM me, or you can send me an email at at the donation address that you gave us, amybmays@gmail.com. I'll totally, you can decide. Judith, you get to decide which one you want. And then Lorna, you'll get the other one. But I have your addresses, just in case they've changed. Probably need to tell me. But, yeah, yay! You want prizes! Also, if you don't want either of these prizes, I didn't show you the other one. The other one is a sock bag and some super awesome Vesper self-striping. It's her sport weight. So it does have nylon in it, 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon, but it's 430 yards. And this colorway is Happy. You guys make me happy. Okay. So, Judith, you choose. And also, if you do not want either of these prizes, that's totally okay. I will not be offended. I totally will not be offended. You can just tell me. I will not be offended. So I think that's all for this week. Yay. Yay for sure yes episodes. Okay. I'll be back in a couple weeks. Before that, I should have a pickling episode out. Again, I'm not a food and health safety person, as evidenced by my, I think that mold's okay on my pickles. So don't trust anything I say. Only use reliable sources when pickling items. Also, don't steal my psychedelic pickles. Those are mine. If I see them on the drug markets, I'm going to be coming after y'all. Not lying. Okay, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.